got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
Everybody's doing well. So, just know that this cough that I have doesn't mean that I'm sick. I can get rid of it, and I guess I'm pretty much on my way out the door. Feel fine. Absolutely fine. Just can't stop coughing. Coming up today on the program, Marva in Miami. You think she's going to talk about the Duke game? You know, her Heels got the win. She can educate me on the Duke game since I was working and get to watch it. Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner podcast, and then Damien Sordelett today. Tomorrow, amongst all the other things that are going on here, let me get it in order and get it correct. All right. So Brian White's going to join us. He's got the book out tomorrow. The Locker Room is Not for Sale. That's We with Filmation, right when we come on tomorrow. Then Keon Brown. tomorrow. Then Marty and Rags in hour 2. Marty Smith, Steve Ragsdale, who's doing very well after his hernia surgery. And then Mike Burnham tomorrow. I'm just double checking to make sure I have it all correct. Yes, Mike's at the doctor today, and he'll do it tomorrow at 8. Yeah, so there we go. There we go. And I think that gets us back on track here. I believe it does. How's everybody doing? Amen, TLB. Bring on the 60-ish today. Get the melting started. My Lord, melt. It's over. We don't need any more of this crap. All you snow people, you got what you wanted. You're able to stick your chest out for the last several weeks. This stuff's just been on the ground. That's all piled up nasty. It's frozen ice. It's got dirt all over it. It's so beautiful. Again, this cough, I can't get rid of the cough. Everything else is gone. I don't have anything wrong, but anybody has any suggestions, let me know. It will not go away. It's not going to go away. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but there it is. So tomorrow we're loaded for bear, man. I mean, my Lord. That's free value entertainment for you here on the stream. From a stone cold side of a mountain in Big Stone Gap to a chilly tee box at Palm Harbor Golf Club in Palms Coast. I'm teeing off at 7:30. Oh, wow. BDST is live and online. Morris is going golfing this morning. Do us a favor, Morris. Crank us out on the golf course. You and all the folks from Dolphin Direct Insurance down there in Florida. TLB says missing Opal. I think Opal got mad because I hate snow. She's a confessed snow lover. I hope not. I hope that's not the case. But how's everybody doing? Yeah, I don't know. So when you hear this cough, just know I'm not still sick. I've taken 2 rounds of antibiotics. I mean, trying to say that you want cough syrup on this doesn't matter. But this is like a chronic thing. Like this happens it just won't stop. It's not at night. It's not in the morning. It's not during the day. Specifically, it's just going to happen. And I don't know what to do about it at this point. I've been looking up symptoms. I've been looking up what it could be. But never smoked a day in my life. Literally, never. But it will not go. It will not go away. I've tried warm beverages. And just know this, that for the most part, when an ailment hits your body, it's going to win 95% of the time until it decides it doesn't want to be any part of your housing system anymore. I had prednisone. I had 12 days of prednisone. But it won't go away. It will not go away. So my apologies. I know it's annoying. It annoys me. So hopefully I can hold it back more than it comes out. Morris said he hit 300 balls on Saturday. Said he was sore on Sunday. Yeah, the struggles of Morris and Palm Coast being sore after playing golf, hitting golf balls. We, most of us, most sane humans, are ecstatic at the thought that it might actually hit 60 degrees today and all this worthless nastiness that's still outside will finally start to melt away. And this is my whole point about snow. Those of you that embrace it, this is what it always turns into, right? Everywhere you look, there's just shoveled dirt piles everywhere of snow. Go to a parking lot at a grocery store or any other type of business, it's just piled up, dirty, nasty, people throwing trash in it. People still having trouble getting up and down their driveways. Correct, Prometheus. We're all sore from shoveling snow. So all this claim that it's so beautiful lasts for what? Maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes? And then you realize you have to go out and remove it somehow so you can function on your daily lives. I saw where Kevin Myatt on X talked about we're already over 21 inches in this area. It's the first time in 5 years. That's enough. We're done. We don't need any more. Congratulations, snow people. You got what you wanted. Now let the rest of us who have, normal thought processes, let us have our time. Morris says sane. That's a word that has been evading me for quite some time. Correct. Sanity is something that's not easy to find in today's world, to say the least. But it did bring my heart joy to see that the NFL is scrambling. They're very upset. They lost a huge amount of their audience at halftime of their event on Sunday. And apparently there are some concerns. Now, the owners, who are all billionaires, have blindly just always extended the contract of Roger Goodell. Maybe that's going to change going forward. Because regardless of what side of this political debate you're on, the fact is we're having more conversations nationwide. The game, it's almost as if the game didn't happen. And this was my point yesterday. When you have subscribed so hard into your political leanings and you've turned your sport into a political activist tool, don't be surprised to see the half that you are basically telling to go to hell stand up and be heard. You're already siphoning off half of your audience. So to see that people have been pushing back and the game is not being talked about at all means that regardless of what profit you made or whatever highest level at one time of people watching across the world, if you're Roger Goodell in the NFL, you failed on what should be your showcase event. The game happened. Okay. But everything is now being broken down into categories. Ratings numbers came out. TMZ had the numbers. And they usually fall 99.9% on the same political side as the NFL and Roger Goodell. They didn't want to release the numbers they released about how many views were lost at halftime and how many views went to the alternate halftime show. So we won't get into the political debate side. Let's just talk about the it. The it means that in this country, there's such a divide. And I've said this all along. This is why we're never going to have harmony in this country again. This is why people hate each other, all because of politics. It makes this much sense. It's never made sense to me. But yet here we are. And I got a great text message, too, about the Olympic thing we're going to talk about. And I believe that's what I'm going to write about this week in the Patriot, my article in the Patriot. America, you know this, is fractured beyond the point of return. The folks who want the discourse will continue to want the discourse. The folks like me who would like to see us somehow be a nation again will probably just, in lieu of a better term, pissing in the wind. But the NFL may have finally jumped the shark, to use the old Happy Days term when Arthur Fonzarelli jumped over a shark on water skis in his leather jacket with Richie driving the boat. Thanks, Rodney. Appreciate that. You mean the last one about the Super Bowl? So the NFL may have finally jumped the shark because the conversation really during their game on Sunday throughout and now the following day, no one cares that Seattle won the game. What was it, 29-13? Nobody's talking about any part of the game. Super Bowl 60 happened. We had a win by a team who was much better than the other team who probably shouldn't have been there, but nobody cares. Nobody's looking at any aspect of the game. I'm not even seeing the shills who support and have to have the NFL approve everything they do. I'm not even seeing the shills post about the game. The Adam Schefters, all the people at ESPN, the people. I'm not even seeing that. But what I am seeing is this debate continue on from many folks who are perceived as being influential in the media, in politics, in whatever realm. So the NFL, I think, finally may have to come to the grips that, oh, you mean everything we do is not just a runaway locomotive? Everybody's just going to eagerly eat it up? They're finally being denied dominance, and they won't handle it well. The owners will not, but they will not have enough of a backbone to do anything about Goodell, who is so steeped in his own biases that he's either lying to himself or the public when he's asked the questions, or it just doesn't really matter to him because he makes $60 million a year. So the great American game, which is football. You can talk about baseball, how the international world's adapted to that and embraced it as one of its favorite sports. American football will never be that. American football is truly ours. America. No one plays it like America. Nobody has a minor league system built into its universities like America. Nobody on Friday nights throughout this great country of ours, and yes, I'm still going to call it our great country, gets more excited about the start of high school football season than America. It is the one great American sport, contrived here, evolved here, and it's become the number one pastime here, more than baseball ever did during the turn of the century, World War I era, World War II, Vietnam. When baseball ruled the roost, it's never ruled like the NFL and college football and high school football rules now. So now you have the commissioner of the most powerful sports league in the world, and he's created this firefall of resentment and of pushback from what I believe is probably over half of its target audience. They've added 9 international games next year. The league continues, and whether you're too naive or whether you're steeped in agreement with them politically, to see how much they're telling America they really don't care about you. So what? You're playing another international game. You're going to make X amount of dollars. Do you think anybody who's going to go to the game in Australia is going to sit there and follow the season? You're going to sit there and wake up on Sundays in Australia. What is it? Like almost a half a day difference in hours? You think the ratings on their television sets in Brazil or wherever you're playing in England, I don't care. Pick a country. Spain. You think all of a sudden the NFL is going to become rivaling, whether it be soccer, whether it be Australian rules football, whatever the sport is? Home games get taken away from season ticket holders here in America. And now you get what happened on Sunday and people recognizing for what it is. And people who are recognizing it for what it is are correct. The NFL gets bogged down. And that's the thing about it. When you decide to turn things over to a political theme and then you get called out for it, you don't know how to react to it. And that's what the NFL is dealing with now. Do I think it'll affect their bottom line to the point they'll change? No, they're not going to change. They don't care. They don't care. But I think the clapping seals are becoming less vocal, less loud. And I don't think they know how to respond to that. You have a bunch of 32 billion owners. And I don't know what their political leanings are, but they do keep reelecting this bozo gazelle. And I think his contract's up at the end of the 27 season. He'll come up next year, and I'm sure they'll probably just go ahead and grandfather him in for another contract extension. But the first time they've seen anything doink their ratings is apparently what TMZ released at halftime. The alternate halftime show is now over 60 million views. And the NFL has to take notice of that. They have actively, during what is America's pristine sporting event, there is nothing more American than the Super Bowl. And they have literally fractured the country in what they're doing watching wise, their watching habits during that game, because they decided that getting across their political agenda was more important than being the league that it's supposed to be. And this takes me back to the discussions that we've had, regardless of which side you fall on. Politics and sports do not belong together. They should not be together. There should be common sense. There should be radical intelligence for people to understand that. You're not advancing anything separating your fan base. And all you're doing when you decide to take the path the NFL has decided to go is that you're speaking into an echo chamber. Who's sitting there going, wow, boy, that was powerful, Roger. I mean, you did a halftime show completely in Spanish that 90% of the country probably couldn't follow. Wow. Name another national sport. Name another national sport. Name another country. Hate themselves so much that they would go away from who they are in terms of entertainment, the game itself, change what they do to accommodate another culture. Tell me here on chat. Send it to me on our professional door text line. The answer is nobody. Just here. Sports used to be the great unifier. We talked about this yesterday. Sports is supposed to be the great unifier. Even if you get into an argument with your friends, if you're a Cowboys fan, if you're a Redskins fan, Eagles fan, whomever, it's good-natured ribbing. You might have family members that go to UVA, go to Virginia Tech, in bragging rights on that last Saturday or Friday in November, how important it is. It was the 250th anniversary of the National Football League. 250th anniversary of this country in the National Football League was on full display, and they decided to do everything to counter what that meant. The alternate halftime show exceeded anyone's expectations. And what this means is now that I believe yesterday it passed the most watched thing ever on this format on YouTube. Ever. What's that going to mean? That's going to mean more advertising that's going to go, wait a minute. Hey, hang on. This is real. You think this is going to be a one-time thing? It's going to continue to grow, and this is all thanks to Roger Goodell. The halftime show used to be such a given, right? Everybody was going to watch the halftime show. Then they teamed up with Jay-Z. And have any of them been remotely worth a damn since he took over, partnered with the NFL? We don't have Prince ever again. Don't have the Rolling Stones. And I know Prince has passed on, but you get what I'm saying. There'll never be another country artist doing anything at halftime in the NFL with the current contract they have. They have made their choice. And people have had enough. They're fighting back. And what the alternate halftime show did was show you that more people are on board with saying enough of this than I think Roger Goodell and their arrogance, the NFL's arrogance, ever thought could. And that's what angers me the most. Not whether or not I agree or disagree politically, but to see the vehicle be used as a divisive measure, to see the NFL, because it's so arrogant with its popularity, eagerly trying to separate this country even further and then trying to defend it with just the most archaic explanations, nonsensical explanations that you can have. It just angers me. I don't think enough younger people have any clue about the history of it. They don't really think about it. They don't. And maybe their whole audience, maybe that's what they deem as being the most important thing. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I'm telling you one thing, the money that they need to continue to function with all this arrogance and pomposity isn't necessarily there with that group than it is the well-established audience, long-standing fans and season ticket holders, right? The game, let's put it this way, the league has decided to throw itself into politics so thoroughly that it's completely lost track of, and I put this together yesterday, I'm really smart. It's completely lost track of how bad the actual product is on the field. It's gotten so distracted with its messaging and how much they despise the current president or the current landscape that, oh, by the way, our game is not very good, is it? The college game is going through a transition that none of us like. It's all about free agency. It's all about professionalism. It sucks. College sports as we know it are gone forever. Forever. Whatever your pay-for-play budget is how good your team is likely going to be the next year going forward. Don't think anybody is a Virginia Tech Hokie anymore or a Virginia Cavalier, because they're not. They're year-by-year mercenaries. We hate it. You hate it. I hate it. I work in college athletics. Nobody likes it. But the quality of the game is night and day, and how much better it is in college football in 2025 than it was in the National Football League. Does anybody disagree with that? We talked about this throughout, and I wrote about it in the Patriot back during the football season. When you sat down and watched a random game that maybe you don't care about, let's say it's a Big 12 game between Oklahoma and Kansas State, and you're sitting there in the third quarter going, man, this is a really good game. Whether it's the portal, whatever it may be, the quality of football in college this past year was outstanding. I was pleasantly surprised. And I think the portal has added to that. That's the one thing that I think it's early on. We don't know if it'll be consistent, but it feels like that is the thing. You watch an NFL game, how many times have we talked about it? I mean, that was a terrible football game. You're in the Super Bowl. Seattle wasn't doing – Phil Omation and Todd Grantham, two defensive gurus who have forgotten more football than I will ever pretend to know, told us that Seattle wasn't doing anything tricky. They ran four-man fronts. Yeah, they would send an occasional corner blitz. New England simply didn't adjust. Their offensive line could not adjust. Mike Vrabel and his staff, Josh McDaniel, Drake May looked pedestrian. It's not like they were coming up with the Bears 46 defense on every play, something we hadn't seen before, that there were 11 Lawrence Taylors on the other side of the ball. No. It was a bad football game because only one of the teams there should have been there. But they've gotten so steeped in trying to be part of the machine to separate this country, the NFL, and Roger Goodell, that they've ignored their product. Did you notice yesterday there was only one flag called in the first half? That was an illegal procedure penalty against the Patriots. So they played an entire first half of their Super Bowl. Didn't feel the need to throw a flag. You watch a game on Sundays in the first quarter, there are usually 7 or 8 flags thrown. It just shows you what they do during the regular season is all made up. If you can ignore it on the game's biggest stage, and of course we all like that, right? But I saw several holding calls. I saw a tripping call. They let it go. They were letting contact go in the secondary because it's the Super Bowl. Officials don't want to be part of the Super Bowl, but yet they'll make all these calls throughout the regular season and the playoffs that will turn the season on a dime. So the league has jumped the shark. I think finally the league has jumped the shark. And now we find out if you went through and you translated the halftime show out of Spanish, what made its rounds yesterday was how vulgar and how inappropriate the things that were being said were. So now the NFL is going to have to address that. The fact that I see your post, Prometheus, the fact that athletes are getting paid, are now getting paid, isn't the issue. The issue is there's no one with responsibility. There's no one with any kind of care enough about it to have implemented any rules to prevent this thing from going crazy. You give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile. And now the athletes reign supreme in the era of pay for play because the NCAA and all of its members failed so miserably. Because none of them wanted to have to worry about litigation ever again. So now they're just letting it. And this is what happens It's one flew over the cuckoo's nest. When the inmates run the asylum, it usually doesn't go well. Yeah, the whole thought that, and you're both right, Morris, Prometheus, but the whole thing about going to go to all this, there's no more educational value in college athletics on the whole. It's gone. But you had nobody who was supposed to be responsible for any of this doing their job. That's why at this place here, I take great pride in the fact that and I can still call them student athletes, just turned in the highest overall GPA of any year we've ever had. And we're always up in the upper echelon of the country. Student athletes. It's still a thing. It can be a thing. But at the highest levels, at the money-making levels, it is not. Yeah, the potholes are another reason this winter sucks. But we'll get more ratings today. And I did not, unless I missed it, and maybe you saw it, I didn't see any declarations of victory from the league yesterday like I thought I would. But here's my whole point of all this diatribe. We can't even have a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl, which should be a layup, without it creating divisiveness politically. And it's all constructed to be that way. And if you don't believe that, I don't know what to tell you. It's there by the conversations. It's there by the reaction. It's there by the commentary. Right. Now you have jagged potholes on roads. And now they're going to have to spend all spring trying to fix that. More taxpayer money. There's not a damn thing that comes from winter when you have weather like this that makes any sense. And people sit there and applaud it like the clapping seals who sit there and love the fact that this country is being torn apart. Explain it to me. Somebody explain it to me. You openly root for the demise of progress on a day-to-day basis, work, school, whatever it may be. Brian, yeah, that's the hope. A lot of those kids playing at lower level schools will also be working their tails off to try to get some kind of payday. Yeah. But you failed, NFL. You failed. But you can't take it back now. You've done what you've done. And trust me, Roger Goodell is not going to change. And all you need to see is the folks who are posting, who are usually on the side of the dissension, who are on the side of the NFL politically, that are fighting back against this too. You didn't even unanimously convert your core target audience. The NFL completely and utterly made the conscious decision to go this route for a reason. And it's disgusting that sports is once again being used, something that was the great unifier, as the one thing now that because it's so powerful, the league that is the most powerful using it to continue to rip this country in half. So anyway, go to X if you don't have an X account, formerly Twitter, and just read what's going on. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you see one conversation about the game. Find one. Send me a thread. Morris, keep us updated on your game. Hope the sun shines brightly. I hope all your drives stay in the fairway, my friend. And might want to take some ice packs, if you're a little sore from your practice rounds. Have fun, man. Thanks for everything. And if you're ever down in Florida, give Morris a call at Dolphin Direct Insurance. 954-347-4596. Not going to be a storm this weekend. It's going to be rain. I already talked to Maya. And then snow people can't wait for more snow. Oh, on X? Okay. And all the fake accounts that come across Facebook and on X, they show like these maps that are made up of like Snowmageddon every time there's a front coming through. Really? Okay. Yeah, sure. It's still a storm, but much less intrusive if it's rain, melting this garbage that's out here on our ground now. All I know is our baseball season at Radford is supposed to open on Friday. So Alex Guerra, who will be on this program Thursday, the head baseball coach at Radford, we're having to get fire trucks down to the stadium. I think it's today since it's going to be so warm. And they're going to have to spray water to kind of break off the ice because it's still, you can't move it. It's all just frozen. They're 3 days away, basically, from their first game. And now they're going to have to get a fire hose. The firemen are going to help us out and try to break it up to get it melted enough to where hopefully today it'll melt off to the point they can actually get it off the field before Friday. Morris says, I need insurance on my body every piece. Well, maybe you can insure I hear Dolphin Direct does a great job, Morris. Yeah, flooding caused by all the damn melted snow. Yes, congratulations. When you get a foot of snow that melts, it leads to flooding. Imagine how that works. It's science. Correct. Another horrible result of this weather. Going down the program, and I knew she'd be wearing Carolina blue. It's Marva in Miami. What's up, Miss Marva? How are you?
I'm doing great, Rick. How are you?
I'm okay. Just know that I'm trying to explain to people now, this cough has become chronic. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. I just can't. The cough will not stop. There's nothing that's going to stop this cough.
That's not good.
There's no remedy. There's no medicine. It's just, I don't know what's going on. I think I'm on my way out. I think I'll be gone in like 2 months.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Do like a tour, and I'm pretty sure that's happening. So I think I'm on the way out. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
You probably just need to go get checked out.
I already have. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that was at the beginning. You need to go get checked out now.
But I even got more drugs on top of that and went through 12 days of drugs. Doesn't matter.
Coffee.
Doesn't matter.
That's not good.
You remember, did you ever watch Seinfeld?
A little bit. Not religiously.
There's an episode where he lets a valet take his car, and then there's like body odor smell in the car.
Okay.
And no matter what they did, all the things that made logical sense, they couldn't get rid of the body odor smell. So at the end, he just gives the card to some bum on the street. And when the guy gets in, he thinks he's got it made, but the last shot of him is like, can't handle the smell. That's what this cough is. It's the body odor smell of Seinfeld's car.
Well, that's a great way to describe it. But, I hope you get better. I think you may just need a little time off, really, from everything. Time off.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen in 2 months. I think I'm going to have permanent time off.
Rick,
we'll see if I can find someone to come in and continue the legacy of the program.
Stop saying that. No,
by the way, so I'm sitting down at High Point, down in the Cubane Center.
Okay.
Which is so overrated. But anyway. And then Marva sends me a text. Where's my text? Did you not see the game? I'm like, well, no, I didn't. I'm in halftime of our game, and you had to explain it to me. So I had no idea that you won, and especially won at the buzzer. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, it was really exciting to watch, and
our guy, right?
Seth Trimble. And it was a great victory. And I'm getting texts from all my Carolina fans across the country. And did you see this? Who can't believe it? Blah, blah, blah. And it was just a great moment because Carolina had been down as much as 13 points. And it's like, Caleb Wilson was keeping the Tar Heels in that first half. He was getting his points. But everyone else, Seth Trimble also, he was right there, but the other players seemed to be struggling a bit. And it was, I never doubted that Carolina could win this game, but I was still nervous. Because you just don't know. But in the second half, Carolina upped the defense. The Blue Devils got tougher on Caleb Wilson. And so he didn't score as much in the second half, but Vasar came on in the second half. And then that play, it's like, Caleb Wilson is being double teamed. Derek Dixon, the freshman who's been playing point guard, he has the ball and they just forget about Seth Trimble in the corner, completely forget about him. And that shot goes up and I'm just like, all nervous. And then it goes in and it's just like pandemonium. And then they just say, oh, there's 4 10.
Did they review it? Did they go back and review it at the end too?
There were problems with the clock. Like people thought the game was over, but they found out there were 4/10 of a second left. And so then this is when things get really crazy because the crowd is just amped up and they storm the court and like everybody has to get off. Everybody. And so the ushers, they're getting people off. The guys who service the quarter out there trying to get it wiped down and do all this stuff. And there's 4/10 of a second left. And you think, okay, this thing is over. But then you think there could be a miracle on the other side because that has happened to Carolina before in other games. And so a little anxious, but then it goes, Duke can't do anything. And that's it. And it's again, everybody, they're rushing of the court and everybody's celebrating and all of this stuff is happening. And then after the game, Rick, this is when things kind of took a negative turn because, Coach Shire came out and said several of his staffers were punched in the face, which I was really surprised by because I watched.
Has anything happened since then?
Well, Carolina was fined for players for fans rushing the court.
Well, yeah,
$50,000, but no one has been able to see video of staffers being punched in the face because there were so many cameras. You know how ESPN covers this game. There are like a million cameras there. Everybody has their cell phones out, also recording video. Correct. And no video has surfaced of staffers being punched in the face. But what has happened is now he says. Shire has changed his story and says it was only one staffer, who he said had a busted lip that was trampled. Again, there's not been video of this. I did see one thing that was unfortunate. I saw a bottle go flying towards the Duke bench.
A bottle? Was somebody sneaking in whiskey?
Like a water bottle. It appeared to be empty, and I said that's really bad because it's nothing I would ever support somebody doing something like that.
Was it a plastic water bottle, just like a?
Yes, it appeared to be a plastic water
what's
bottle.
What's that going to do?
I saw that, and if he had said that, I'd say yeah, that happened. It was unfortunate, and most people who were because Carolina fans were going to watch to the very end. They cut off the coverage. We're saying we saw that bottle be thrown. But to say that several people were punched in the face,
He
I mean,
lied.
that's a crime.
He
That's
lied.
assault.
He completely lied. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I don't want to say that, but I'll just say that no video has surfaced to show anybody being punched in the face. And now he's saying instead someone was trampled and had a busted lip and it was bleeding. Again, no one's seen that. He said he's not going to name the person to respect their privacy. So I don't know. But I mean, I just think that's the first thing he talks about when he goes out to do his post-game press conference. Like I said, and people have been looking, of course. People were trying to find video of this happening because it's awful. And like I said, that's assault if you get punched in the face.
Sure
but no one's been able to find video of that. And now he's saying it was the person was trampled. And so I don't know. It brings to mind the thing that happened at Wake Forest when he had a player that he said was injured. Again, Duke lost to Wake Forest, and the people rushed to court, and he said one of his players was injured, and that player came out for their post-game press conference, and they had an ice bag for their leg or something, but they did not miss any time, and it was just, you just don't know what's going on there, because I never want to see anybody get hurt. Like, I love a good game. I love that Carolina won, but I would have been very upset and disappointed if someone had really assaulted someone on the Duke side. Well,
congratulations. Did you and your family storm the living room? I mean, I knew
we
you weren't at
did.
the game.
I said I was going to Franklin Street. But yeah, we talked about the logistics of that, and by the time we got there, so but yes, I stormed the living room. Yes. I had to stand up for the last few minutes. Like, I sit and watch a game like a normal person, but for those last few, I had to stand up because you never know when I might be needed or whatever.
Were you guys wearing your home whites?
Wow.
What'd you wear?
I believe so. Like, I can't even remember now.
Because it's a missed opportunity. What should happen every time y'all play is you should wear the Carolina blue and they should wear the royal blue.
Okay.
Right?
I don't, Rick, I know you love uniforms, but I just don't even care. Don't you
think that should happen?
Excited that they got the win. Yes.
I mean, that should happen. I mean, why don't you do that anyway? But yeah, I'm glad you got the win. Congratulations. I mean, Duke's going to be the number 1 seed overall anyway. It doesn't matter. That loss doesn't do much to them. They'll win the ACC tournament
seed because of Arizona.
Arizona lost last night.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Kansas beat Arizona.
They've only had one loss. They still should.
It's Duke, though. It's Duke.
Yeah, it's Duke. So
come on.
Yeah, I know. But it was just such a fun moment. Everybody's excited, and like I said, then this thing happens, and it's Mars it, and that becomes what people are talking about versus the fact that Carolina beat this team that, like, how ESPN has their analytics. And towards the end of the game, they came up and they said,
analytics,
like, the chance of Carolina winning was like this small.
Well, take those to heart. If you're sitting around going, boy, what's the ESPN analytics say? Then you got more issues than I can help you with.
A lot of times it's right. I mean, Carolina was down and then they just, toughed it out. And I just love it for Seth Trimble because he is a senior. He's been there. He was the only player who'd been there, played in this rivalry game. And there are people who were saying, he's when he came back, it wasn't good for the team. And I just like that's I don't know what those people are talking about, because I really feel like he's the heart of the team and he's recognizing Caleb Wilson's talent and he's, wanting that young man to shine. Like, people are saying, oh, he's jealous of Caleb. Like, people come up with some of the craziest stuff. And I just think he wants to win. He loves to play. He's in the fight. And I was very happy that it came down to him. The Duke was double teaming Caleb Wilson. And so, that leaves somebody open. And it happened to be Seth Trimble.
Our guy. How many times have we just propped up our guy, Seth Trimble? They weren't the same without him, and now they got him back, and maybe they're finally starting to break through a little bit. Well, I was very happy for you. When I saw the text at first, I think we were getting ready to go to a media timeout. I thought, uh-oh. And I thought, wait a minute. And then I read, oh, they did win. So she was happy.
Yeah,
so that made me happy. So good for you. Good for you. I was very happy for you. That's all.
Very, very happy. And, like I said, when I have not said this, but a lot of people say, when Duke loses, America wins. So I don't know that. So.
By the way, congratulations. Apparently Wayne is actually a North Carolina fan. All this stuff he's been talking about Virginia Tech is just kind of a Cope. He apparently loves North Carolina. And
I
Carolina
see that. He
Blue
grew up a fan. Awesome.
more than anything else in the world. Congratulations, Wayne. I'm bet you have to be thrilled today.
Well, he says he's all maroon and orange now. But
No, I think
but I can't see my screen. There's always these silly things that come up on my screen.
No, I think he's all about Carolina Blue now. So that's great. We'll be sending him some Carolina knickknacks now. I know you'll have some clothes. Maybe get him a shirt or something.
Sure.
He can wear that at the next Carolina Tech game he's at.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people like that, though, that have kind of more than one team. Like I don't.
Oh, and you can't. Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I don't. But there are a lot of people like that. Like they go for Carolina, but maybe for football they go for another.
Oh, it's so annoying. I know a lot of Virginia Tech fans that are the exact same way. That are
like they're
big
Virginia
Tech football fans, but they pull for
they
Duke basketball. Yes.
Wow.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
You got to be all in.
What sense does that make? Oh, I know several people that are like that. Oh, yeah.
And then they chose Duke. Oh.
Yeah, it's usually Duke basketball.
Wow.
Because Tech basketball traditionally hasn't been great. It's been okay.
You got to build them up.
I know.
They need fan support.
I know.
So they would actually, if Virginia Tech is playing Duke in basketball, they're going for the Blue Devils.
Ryan Price isn't right. These are the people that end up Cowboys and Yankee fans. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's bizarre. I don't know what's going on.
So how worried are you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd say so. Tonight, I will be at the Carolina game. Carolina is playing Miami. We talked about this, and I said, I don't know if I can go.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yes.
But yes, I will be there tonight. I will be there. Whole family
You're there?
will be there. We're going to be decked. Well, my husband refuses to wear the Carolina gear. I don't know why. But the rest of the family will be there, decked out in our Carolina
You got to
gear.
send pictures. I want to see all you guys. That'll be great.
I will.
Awesome.
And so I bought these tickets from StubHub. And
for $17,000.
No, it was more reasonable that because I thought I wasn't going to go if they were too crazy. So bought the tickets there, and now I'm on some kind of list, and so I get all this stuff about hurricane stuff. Start thinking about football season and all, and I'm like, it's going to be an orange out, and I'm just like,
that's okay.
You're
gonna wear Carolina. Don't be shy about wearing your colors. Come on.
Yes. I would never wear orange. I don't know what they're talking about. But I guess they assume I'm a Canes fan now and I'm getting all this stuff in my email. It's very weird.
Oh, that'll be great. Well, and it's a big test. Now you come off that win.
Yes, it's an emotional high.
And now you're going on the road against a pretty good team that's rebuilt pretty well. Oh, this is a great test.
So, it's going to be a good test. And, I'm hoping that they can just keep those.
Oh,
you got to stay up for every game. You got to get up for every game.
So that's tonight.
You can't play Duke every time. Yes, it's tonight at 7:00.
What's it on? I'm going to watch it just for you.
It's on ESPN. I'm assuming it's on ESPN. I don't know.
Oh, mute the TV and watch it. Okay.
Yes.
And I'll look for you.
You may see me in the crowd.
I hope so. If I do, I'm going to try to stop it and take a picture. I'll show you.
Okay.
Where are your seats? Are they okay? Are they decent?
Yeah, they're all right. They're in a pretty good section. I think it's like section 112, row M. So it's not like perfect.
Are you on the sides? Or are you on the sides or in the end zones?
No, not in the end zones, on the sides.
Okay.
Yeah. So
good. That's exciting. I'm excited for you.
It's very exciting.
Awesome.
So
what we should do.
If we need to go on to the air,
you know what should do? That's what I was going to say. What we should do is just come on live tonight and have you there with your phone and just going on live and get your commentary on the game.
Okay. Not during the whole game, but yeah.
Yeah, let's go live with Marva in Miami. I could do that. I could do like something on my phone, connect with you, send you a quick invite. We could do that. Maybe we'll do that.
That would be fun. As long as Carolina's winning, okay? As long as Carolina's winning, it's fun.
It's a big test. This is the kind of game that really tells you if you're ready now to make a big push.
Yeah, it totally is. And I'm hoping that, after the game, Hubert Davis said all the right things. We're going to celebrate. We're going to enjoy this. And then we're going to start getting ready for Miami the next day.
Yep.
So.
You have to put it away.
You got to put it away because Carolina's had this happen before, had a big win over Duke. And then the next game is against someone they're supposed to beat. I mean, and this Miami game is going to be tough. But, it's happened before with someone you're supposed to beat and Carolina just comes out flat and ends up losing the game because, you're on this emotional high and now you're like, oh, okay. So I'm hoping they will just keep pushing and come out really strong. And I would love to see them lead, from buzzer to buzzer. So I'm not having to be nervous in enemy territory.
Well, I think it's great. I'm excited for you. I'm so excited you're there. It's like I was going. I'm so happy for you. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Very, very cool. Yes.
All right. So the game itself, we won't talk around the circus around it that's just blown up. But what did you think of the actual game on Sunday?
Oh my gosh.
Wasn't
It was
it
so
awful?
tough to watch. It was so tough to watch. And it's like maybe late third quarter, early fourth. And the Patriots actually have a successful drive. And I'm like, oh, is it going to be a
I know,
comeback? Is
I
it
know.
going to happen? I was
Like-
kind of getting excited. And then it's like, no, it's not. And it was really tough to watch. And what Drake was having such a rough time. I mean, he was not being protected, and it was just
the line was terrible.
The line was so bad, and I was just like, this is awful. And we know now, though, what the Patriots need to work on and what they need to get out of the draft.
Draft some linemen. Yeah.
Yes, because I mean, these guys were not protecting Drake at all. And of course, we saw him make some mistakes toward the end. I think he was just pushing. He knew things were going bad, and he was just pushing and made some mistakes. But he just didn't have any protection. Before you knew it, somebody was in his face.
They weren't even doing anything. It's not like they were like doing anything crazy. They just couldn't block them. Couldn't block them.
They were just gunning for him, and those guys could not stop them, and it was ugly. But I stayed to the very. I mean, I watched the whole thing. I didn't stay to watch the Disney commercial. I was wondering. I didn't even know who was going to be the MVP. I went to bed before that was announced because I was just tired. And I was thinking, I told my husband, I ought to be the kicker. He's the one that scored all their points.
Well, that's the other thing that's come out of the whole thing. The commercials were nothingness. It was the worst. Like usually, at least
really bad.
They were all bad.
Bad.
Nobody's talking about any of them.
I mean, I couldn't stand the singing toilets. That was the one that really got me.
It was a terrible.
There was. I wrote down. I'm trying to find my notes. I wrote down one of them that I thought, oh, that's kind of okay. The Pepsi bear was kind of interesting because that's Coke's symbol. So I thought that was kind of cool,
because
Chase
they're
born in
always
the
one step ahead of
Carolinas,
the game.
right? Okay, so that was kind of cool. But there was one where they had people whose heads were exploding from the those energy drinks, and that was by Liquid Death. They make an energy drink now. There was one with Emma Stone where she was very angry. It was kind of made look like an old-fashioned movie because her domain name was stolen. And I just thought that was kind of interesting. But other than that, and some of them were trying to pull on your heartstrings. And, usually that stuff kind of gets to me. But this year, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. It was like, with the eagle and the horse, that was one of the beer companies they were trying to get you.
It's Budweiser because of their failed attempt to get into politics, and they got canceled. So now they're trying to come back and be all American.
I didn't really know, but I just didn't. It was supposed to make you feel something. There's the one where the little boy and his granddad, and then he becomes a man and he's buckling in or helping his granddad, whereas his granddad used to help him buckle his car seat. And I know that was supposed to make me feel something. But I don't know. Oh, the one that my husband liked the most was the one where the guy was playing Neil Diamond. It was I think Hellman's commercial. And I mean, I thought that was kind of amusing, but there was just nothing that really made me say, oh, wow, I like that. I want to see it again.
No, I can't even tell you, because you know what I did after the first quarter? I watched an old episode of Magnum PI.
Oh my gosh, Rick. See, now if Drake had a big comeback, you would have missed it.
I sure did.
But it was just all those field goals, and again, it was just not that exciting. And I'm not a hater of the Seahawks by any measure. I'm not a hater of Sam Darnold. I mean, happy for him.
Yeah.
But it was just, I just didn't care. If let's say they had been playing some other team, and it wasn't, I didn't get to see Drake. It was some other team. I don't know. I mean, would I have just checked out? I don't know. It just wasn't very good.
No, it's a terrible game. Terrible problem.
I mean, if you like field goals, though, if you are into field goals, if you are, you were in heaven, right?
Yeah. Hey, Morris says he's playing golf this morning with an NC State fan. Anything you want to say to the NC State fan? I think they're listening right now.
NC State fan. Yeah. Oh, well, I think they had a pretty bad loss recently.
That was last night.
Yeah. So
Louisville beat them like you haven't seen a team getting beaten. This is a Louisville team that struggled at Wake Forest on Saturday NC State beat up on Tech, and NC State went down there and just got absolute. I think they gave up like 118 points last night.
Wow. So give your NC State friend a hug, because that's what they need. Right? Give them a hug. Because I mean, I just heard that they were getting beat really badly, and of course I didn't turn over there or anything. I just heard people talking about it online. And what I find interesting is that I'm not going to go online and post about NC State losing like that, because I mean, it's bad, but it's not like my world doesn't revolve around that. Well, I share this because when the Super Bowl happened, I saw some NC State fans posting about, how Drake lost, which I just thought was interesting because it's always Carolina's top of mind for them all the time. It's very bizarre. I don't know what's up with that. Very bizarre behavior.
Yeah, they lost a college basketball game by 41 points last night in conference.
Wow. That's bad.
That's not good. That's not good, Marva. That's not good.
That's not good.
Well, but, listen, that's awesome that you get to go tonight.
Yes, great. I'm so excited. I hope the kids have never been to a college basketball game before.
Oh, they're gonna love it.
So I'm hoping they love it. My daughter is like, she wasn't that excited. My son's more excited, but I'm hoping when she gets in the environment, because it's just a fun environment to be in.
Well, I mean, the fact that she's now like 6'2", like you, she might be recruited tonight. Who knows?
She may be, yes. Because she wants I was shopping the other day. She wanted me to get her basketball shirt. And I'm like, why? You don't play? You don't even really like basketball. And she wanted it. So I was like, okay, well, I got her one because it wasn't that expensive. But I still thought it was just, so I think she liked the style of it.
So I used you as an example the other day because I want you to do some homework. Next week, I want us to get into this a little bit.
Okay.
When I worked with you, today, nobody in news, nobody in journalism cares whether there's facts. Nobody cares. None of it's facts.
I will not agree with that. I don't agree with that.
You're wrong. You're wrong. But anyway,
people care. Yes.
All I know is when I was working with you, all I know is there would be times that you made sure everything was completely lined up, completely right. Whether does everything line up here? Is this information before you would go on the air? And I use you as an example. I'm like, wow, there's somebody who I learned from you.
Well, why would I want to go on the air and say something that was wrong?
Correct. We're talking. This was early 2000s. You and I working together. Well. Today, it's not like that. It's all about either being first. It's about agenda-driven stuff. It doesn't matter whether it's factual.
Well, I mean, I think there's still, even then, there's a push to be first. But the thing is, it's like you have to, it's better to be second or third and be accurate rather than to be first.
Correct.
Especially when things are 100%. Happening that are like in the moment. And I've seen now some stations will go and say, this is what we know now. Of course, this may change. This is a breaking news situation. It's what we're hearing. But still, I think you need to be pretty certain because, I'm thinking about, say, things that happen with schools. Like there was a school down here recently that went on lockdown because there was a report a threat had been sent in, and then, of course, rumors start spreading. Parents are panicking. Like this wasn't my kid's school, but still, I understand. And so you can't go on the air and say what some crazy person who just called into the newsroom and said.
Correct.
People will do that. They will say, and sometimes they think they saw something, but still, you got to use some caution. Be responsible.
Well, I want to talk about that next week, how the vibe has changed. Social media changed that a lot.
Yeah, social media has changed
a whole lot. So, but I think that would be good because you're still the best person. Well, yeah, but we can relate it to sports because a lot of it's inaccurate about sports too. People will post things regardless; they won't check anything. And I like that's what I do a lot on X. I'll correct people. Well, no, you're wrong. This is what happened. I give them the stats, and they're like, and usually they don't respond.
Right.
You're just making something up.
I mean, if it's just some fan spouting about something, I mean, I have to decide carefully, when to respond when somebody says, okay, because sometimes somebody says something that I know is factually. I mean, I'm not talking about people's opinions. Again, they can be whatever.
Correct. Yeah, opinions are fine. Yeah,
actual stuff that is incorrect.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just ignore it, but it depends on what mood I'm in and how much time I've got.
Yeah, I don't worry about the fan stuff. I'm talking about accounts that actually are
like by
that try to claim that they know stuff. Yeah, that they have. Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations and have a great time tonight. I hope it's a great experience for all. I can't wait to hear about that next week.
I hope it's a big win.
Yeah. I know you need to win that one.
This
will tell us a lot about it.
You don't want to drop off.
No drop off. Well, have fun.
Thank you. And I'll see you next Tuesday.
You deserve it. Go Heels. There you go.
Go Heels.
There you go. Go Heels. Go Heels. There you go. Thanks, Ms. Marva. Be good.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Marva's going to have a good time. That's fun. I'm excited for her. That's awesome. She gets to go watch her heels tonight in her now new town of Miami. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic in the chat room. Chat room's popping as always. We've been averaging nearly 700 views a show, by the way, the last few weeks. Family Fencing Studios here in Reiner. Get a free quote, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrv.com. We talked about Mark Hundley once. We'll talk about him again. In March, I'm heading over there. Mark and I are already planning for my go through his system with his equipment, McClellan Chiropractic. Can't wait for that. It'll actually help my back. That is, if this chronic cough has not led me to my burial. The Ready Set Fund, ReadySetFund.com with Bob Chris, CRIST11 at Gmail. If you need to raise money for your event, organization, whatever it might be, check out ReadySetFund.com. Professional Door Incorporated, commercial garage doors, and residential and commercial garage doors. Easy for me to say. 38 years in business. Thanks, Travis. You're the best. Member FDIC, they are. National Bank. Exclusive banking partner, BDST, here on YouTube. Thanks to them. The attorney, Ryan Pry in Radford, brings you the BDST fan question of the week. 701 West Main Street in Radford, trust and estate planning. And I think what we're going to ask is, how do you feel about Virginia Tech making the NCAA basketball tournament? Yes or no? Of course, then maybe we should wait till after the game on Wednesday. Little River Heating and Air, because if they lose to Clemson, it's going to be an uphill climb to get back into it. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. All the folks who've been on this program that have utilized Little River Heating and Air are thanking me because we talked about them here, and that's where they heard about them. Thank them. They're the best. I'm telling you, they're the best. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment is the presenting sponsor of this program. I believe Thursday we're going to have Tim Miller on. We got so much going on this week here on the program. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Thanks to James Lawson. Give him a call, 540-381-8011. And the NRV Super Bowl over in Christiansburg, 382-5525. Thanks to Terry and Amanda. Understand they had an absolutely outstanding time at their event on Sunday with the Super Bowl. And you know what? If you decided to do that as bad as the game was, you really, really lucked out. What's up, Christopher Lester? And I'm sorry to hear about your doggy. That sucks. I hope he's okay, or her. Keep us updated, man. We care because we're family here. We do. We do. Yeah, I'm thinking about taking down all the propaganda here. We got to get Super Fight up. I got to get your Super Fight plaque up. I don't think it's hyperbole to say if Tech goes ahead and loses to Clemson that I don't know. I guess beating UVA and Carolina would get them back, but they're going to be facing a massive uphill climb at that point. I think if you beat Clemson, there's still a shot. Now, I may have to, by the way, walk out of here in a little bit after Brian Seigla and get another soda. So I apologize for that. We'll see. No, I'm not putting any Padres stuff up, though, because I'm done with Major League Baseball, too. How the Dodgers are allowed to do what they're doing, and it's going to lead us to this massive work stoppage coming up. My focus is going to be on college baseball this year. That's going to be my baseball fix. We'll follow Radford and Tech and keep up with college baseball. And look, I know pay for play has infiltrated many of those programs, especially in the SEC. But Major League Baseball is a failed entity. Terrible commissioner, terrible construct of salary differential. And when you're able to defer billions of dollars of salary just so you can have a super team and nobody does anything, it's done. It's done. I love the game, but I don't love the entity of Major League Baseball. Does that make sense? Like, you love baseball, but you don't love what that has evolved into. It's terrible. It's terrible. But Chris, we're thinking about you, man. We're thinking about you. All right, joining us now on the program, it's Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner Podcast, the guys who have more fun talking about tech football than anybody I know. What's up, Mr. Seigla? How are you?
Rick, how are you doing this morning?
Okay. I have a chronic cough. Like, I'm not sick in any way, shape, or form, but I think this is just going to stay around for the rest of my life.
Just hanging around.
It's just going to hang around.
It's a new feature.
It's now a new feature of the program. That's Rick and his cough here on YouTube. Good
there
Lord.
We go. That's what you want right there.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have a calling card. You got to have a calling card.
People love it. If I were a superhero, I'd be called the cougher. What's going on with you, man? What do you guys? Did you take some time off? Where are we with you?
We're taking some time off. Yeah, we're back next week. We're gonna be taking a way too early look at the two deep of this this Virginia Tech football program. Now, apparently with what Franklin said at the presser, we got to get three deep. We got to have a three deep lineup. So, you know what? We're going to talk about the two deep. We're going to keep it there and kind of see how we're feeling. We kind of gave the last time we went live, we gave an overall impression of kind of how we felt about each position group. And this is going to be more of a deeper dive into that of within those position groups, who do we feel are going to be the guys that we're going to be talking about a lot on Saturdays in 2026.
Oh, that'll be good. Well, there you go. Educational. And I'm going to be curious to see how the two deep are on the offensive line lines up, because inevitably every college football team has to go into that second unit at some point to have guys who can come up and not miss a beat. So that'll be good, man. That'll be good.
You like to have at least 8 of those guys that you can count on. You want to at least have your starting 5 and at least, one tackle that can play both ways.
Yes.
You want to have a guard that, can play left or right, and you want to probably have another guy that can snap the football when you need it.
But one thing that if you're a Tech fan, I think you should be excited about James Franklin's offense is the utilization of the tight end. It's going to be multiple tight ends. It's one of the things that identifies what he likes to do. And I think when you think about the offensive line and the problems Tech has had, and you and I have talked about it, Brian, they haven't really utilized the tight end, whether as a blocking mechanism enough or as a receiver. So now you're going to have multiple options out there. I just think it creates so many things for an opposing defense to have to try to account for. I think that's something that we've forgotten about if you're a Tech fan, right? Because you haven't seen it in recent years. But, boy, we're going to be reminded of why Frank Beamer was so successful in that running game because of how much the tight end was a focal point of that.
And you bring Luke Reynolds to pair with, Benji Gosnell.
Exactly.
You got a couple other guys that had some, pretty good run in, 2024. The tight end wasn't really utilized last season, at least not in the passing game in any capacity. And so I think you're going to see you get back to that. I mean, even going back to Tebow, there was tight end usage pretty heavy, but there wasn't this emphasis. And in the running game, especially the blocking, it was a lot of kind of split zone concepts and not necessarily just a guy lining up and, chipping with the tackle to the next level and things like that. There wasn't as much as that. It was more of that split zone concept with more of a wing kind of tight end there.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a little bit different look with this offense, a little bit more traditional usage of the tight end, but I think you'll see some interesting kind of fun, innovative concepts with the tight end as well. And obviously the usage of the passing game again is going to be, I think, really critical to the success of the offense as a whole, especially considering, you've got on the wide receiver unit, you got a lot of talent, but you only have a couple guys with a lot of experience. So, I think there's going to be some degree of leaning on that tight end room a little bit to complement the wide receiver unit, especially as some of the young guys get their feet wet and get their feet under them in the early part of the season.
Well, and help me if I'm wrong here, but think about all the best Tech teams, right, that we saw through the years were run first, run heavy. Everything comes out of that. Even the quarterbacks who had success, throwing the football, it never was the focus of the offense. I think that's what you're going to see a lot of. It's when you look back at those Penn State teams that had success, and I know Saquon Barkley kind of throws a little different wrench into it because they get it back. But the fact is, you're going to see, I think, a lot of similar philosophy take hold, and I think that should excite Tech fans because that's what has led to Tech's best seasons over the last 30 years is being able to run the football when you need to run the football.
Yeah, and if you can establish the run, that gives you a really good kind of starting point of being successful offensively because when you can run the football, you can sustain drives a whole lot better than through the passing game, in my opinion. So, when you're able to run the football well, that's going to open up a whole lot of other things. Being able to take shots downfield, you get to control time of possession a little bit better. So there's a lot of positive benefits from being able to control the line of scrimmage with the run game.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I think even at that level, even though you have guys now jumping in the portal and out, but there's nothing more demoralizing at the collegiate level, especially when you can just line up and say, how many yards do we need? We need 4. We're going to be able to get 7.
Yep.
And it just creates so much dissension on a defense, and it just knocks you. And the energy level completely deflates when you're able just to run the football, right?
And I think the thing that this offense needs to find is balance, right? I mean, when you look at last season's offense, I mean, they just could not pass the ball with any degree of consistency. There wasn't explosive plays, really either way outside of a couple Overton runs to really point to at the offense and say, okay, well, we're an explosive offense in the running game and we can throw the football. We really didn't do a whole lot of either of that last year. So getting back to explosive plays, full stop, and particularly explosive plays that are set up by the running game would be a really nice feature of this offense.
It feels like to me, whether I don't know if it's going to be Overton, Hawkins, or someone else, it feels like to me that someone's going to evolve this year into a major fact, like an ACC type of player, all ACC type of player, right? Tootin was that guy because he's just amazing. He was just an exceptional player. But it feels like this year we're going to see an identity prop up. I think it'll be one guy, not 2 guys, but I think somebody's going to be another running back superstar. And I guess other than Tootin, it's hard for me to remember one in the last, 6, 7, 8 years, right? It's been a major star or a major guy you can count on to run the football.
You had Herbert in the COVID year there, and I feel
there
was
true.
We didn't get to see him live in person.
Well, that's right. Maybe that's what.
So I think that's why he kind of, we kind of forget about Khalil Herbert and what he was able to do behind a really good, probably the best offensive line Virginia Tech has had in recent memory in that 2020 season because of everything going on with COVID that year, but. I think Overton is going to be the guy that really steps up. I mean, you saw what he was able to do in the back half of last year, coming off a major injury, and first year in the program. There's so many things that you can point to and say, if he can build off of that even just a little bit, he is going to be that dude. And I'm excited to see what he's able to do. But, yeah, I think, starting the year, you're probably going to see a 1A, 1B with Overton and Hawkins there. But I've got a feeling it's going to be a coming out party for Overton this year.
Yeah, and that's the White's guy. That's the White Vic's guy. I think he would concur 100%. It feels like it. And I do believe you need to have a lead back. I understand you have to have a change of pace back or maybe a guy to spell somebody, but trusting a lead back, in my opinion, is almost like trusting your quarterback because a lead back needs to know that, okay, you're the guy, I'm the guy you're trusting to get those yards. I'm the guy who can be a playmaker. I know you need to blow from time to time, but they need to focus in on one guy to be that guy. I think all the best teams have one bell cow running back, and Tech hasn't had that for too long. So,
well, I think, you make a really good point there, and just as much as it's important for a quarterback to get into a rhythm throwing the football, it's important for a running back to get the feel of a defense, and you only get that by getting the ball handed to you consistently. So if you're swapping guys in and out all the time, you're not really going to get that feel. Now you might still get explosive plays because you're switching things up and the defense is getting different looks, but you're not going to get those consistent gashes that you might get.
No,
when you just have a guy that's in there that really gets the feel of what a defense is doing, how his offense is doing against that defense, and kind of where he can attack consistently.
Yeah, and then Dwight's talked about that a lot when he was, anchoring that offensive line, that you wanted a certain back there because you knew what to expect from him. You knew what you had to do as a unit if he were behind you. And if you look back and you see somebody else all the time, you're like, geez, I get it. I get it. It makes sense now when you think about it.
Yeah, and the upside too is that when you talk about change of pace backs, like we saw that Hawkins could handle the majority of the carries last year. That wasn't a problem, but he is also very much a third down style back as well. Yep. So he is definitely a guy that you could bring in there, to spell Overton, to catch balls out of the backfield, to be counted on to block. When there's a heavy protection situation on third down. So I think structure wise, you've got the two guys you probably want to be your primaries in that backfield. I'm excited to see where some of the other skill guys fill out around that offense. But it's been said a lot of times that the focus is going to be on running the football, establishing the run, and making sure that you're not behind the chains in those early downs.
Yeah, I mean, look no further than Super Bowl Sunday. Who was the MVP, right? Kenneth Walker, the guy who was able to change the game because he could, run the football. I mean, that's just the way it works. That's just the way it works. So,
and if they kicked one more field goal, it was probably going to the kicker. That MVP was probably going to the kicker, but because he would have broken the Super Bowl record for field goals in a game. But
that would have been great.
There's a big reason why he was able to kick those field goals, and that's because Kenneth Walker was able to move the ball down the field in the field goal range.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Well, we'll see. And this is the time now where there's not a lot of information because it's all acclimation. You can't really do a whole lot, but you can get your systems implemented. And Todd Grantham explained yesterday how now it's about verbiage, right? It's about learning wherever you're from. Well, this is what we're calling things. And it was a very interesting conversation. You forget about that, but you have to come in and learn how James Franklin and his staff, his coaches are going to refer to things, formations, what they're seeing, the type of things they need to do. That's why this time is underrated, but man, it's so vital, isn't it, heading into spring practice?
Absolutely. Like everything, there's a lot of physical trials for an athlete this time of year because you're in the weight room consistently, you're doing conditioning, you're putting your body, you're really tuning your body. But as far as the football aspect, this is where you are doing all those mental reps. This is where you're absorbing all the mental aspects of the offense and defense and special teams to some degree as well. When we think about that prep period, I think the one thing with the verbiage that, it's like we have a new regime, but we don't have a new regime. It's a very interesting. Franklin's running things way differently than Pry, but from a terminology standpoint, I'm not sure that there's a ton of difference in the type of language and intent with language that Franklin uses versus what maybe Pry was doing, especially when it comes to the X's and O's piece of it.
Yeah, so I wonder.
I'm very interested to see if there's a ton of new terminology, new verbiage that has to be kind of established, or whether a lot of that's already kind of there, and Franklin's really just massaging that or sanding that a little bit to make sure and put his own little touch on there, or remove any nuances that Pry may have added to what they were doing at Penn State.
Yeah, agreed. Well, it'll be interesting to see what you guys come up with, because we won't get any more information for a while, probably until the spring. I think it's going to be on full shutdown going forward. At least that's what we were kind of led to believe out of the last presser. That was going to be your one opportunity to come in and get to know things. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys come up with. And then it'll be fun. You guys can go back and compare how it actually looks, right, throughout the spring when they release that first spring depth chart. That'll be cool.
Oh yeah, the first one that comes out in spring, I'll be like, all right, we'll just throw that in the trash. Let's start over again and see. We completely miscalculated on a couple position groups,
or maybe you nailed it. Maybe
I did. Yeah, I feel like quarterback, running back, probably tight end. I think we kind of know what that's going to look like. What the actual, I think we know who the players are in the wide receiver room, but what that looks like orientation wise and depth wise, that's a good conversation. I think you can have that same conversation in the linebacker and safety room on the other side of the football. So I think, there's a lot of knowns and a handful of unknowns. So I'm excited to talk about it.
No, and to your point about the receivers, I mean, other than a kid from Duke and Green, right? I mean, they're experienced, but you might have guys who are talented, but they're not necessarily seasoned, I guess is the best way to say
and
it.
Where do they slot in? How do they impact? Yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to play around with and talk through, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So when is that happening? When are you guys doing that?
That's going to be next Tuesday.
All right. And that's everywhere. That's YouTube. That's Instagram. You can find it anywhere on your website.
It's X, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and then all the audio will be available next day on every podcast platform you got out there. So check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, brother. Have fun with that. I can't wait to get the result. That'll be great.
There we go.
To talk about the results of what you guys come up with. You always do a great job. So that's awesome.
I appreciate it, Rick. Always a pleasure jumping on here with you.
60 degrees today, brother. We're getting there.
I'm so ready. My driveway is finally going to be snow-free in the next couple days. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's great. It's a great time. The melt is a great time. All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Appreciate it, Rick. You have a good one.
Right, you too, man. There you go. Ryan Seigla from the Boundary Corner. Check them out. Boundary Corner podcast. Check them out everywhere. They have a great time. They're fun. They're great. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, 60 degrees today. Maybe. We'll see. They always exaggerate that a little bit. So we'll find out. Damien Sordelett comes up at 8. We'll talk about his experience last week at the presser. And then we're loaded for Bear tomorrow, man. Brian White's going to come on, going to talk about his book. Coach Elmo is going to jump on with him. Keon Brown, Marty and Rags, and Mike Burnham. Wow. What a Wednesday show. You kidding me? So that's your tomorrow. I mean, they can talk about the alternate halftime show being the number one thing ever on YouTube, but our show tomorrow might eclipse that. But anyway, I'm looking forward, and I mean looking very forward to meeting Mr. White and to talk about his book, The Locker Room is Not for Sale. And then you're going to throw Coach Elmo on there with him. And I'm just going to stay out of the way. I'm basically just staying out of the way tomorrow, which is what I can do to serve best as the host. You have Keon on, and then you got Marty and Rags. By the way, Coach Rags doing great after his hernia surgery. Talked to him in depth yesterday. And then Marty's going to Daytona right after. Matter of fact, I think he's leaving right after the show tomorrow. And then Burnham, who's at the doctor today, which is why he's not on today. And we'll talk about, well, it'll be game day. We'll talk about Tech and Clint. I mean, I guess he'll be in his hotel tomorrow. Let's just say it the way it is. Hyperbole, you tell me. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go get another beverage, guys and gals. I'll be back. Sometimes this is inevitable when you're dealing with what I'm dealing with cough-wise. What do you think? You want a little Selma? Want a little Selma while I'm gone? What do you think? Is that okay? Do you want Selma? Do you want Selma there? Or do you want Selma, doing a little dance? Do you want stoic Selma? I mean, what do you want? You pick the one you want, and that's what I'll leave you with when I go upstairs to get my beverage, and I'll be right back. I mean, whichever Selma you vote for, you can't lose. Or we could just go Bigfoot. You want to look at Patty? Let's go Bigfoot. Yeah, you try to tell me that's not real. All right, hang on. I'll be right back. Beverage time. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. My apologies for the interlude there, but had to get beverage. Does Bigfoot buy his Pepsi? No, 2-liter bottles are blasphemy. Don't ever do that. I mean, nothing tells your guest you care less about them than, hey, I got soda in 2-liter bottles here, warm on the table. Go grab you some watered down ice. We're going to have a great time. And I hope you didn't hear my coughing fit. I tried to do that in a secluded area. Welcome back. How are you? Damien Sordelett at 8 o'clock today. Anything you want to chat about, let's chat. All our great sponsors, whomever it might be. So media utilization. We're going to hook up Morris is on the golf course. I think he's looking for some things with his property here. We've already helped him once. I know Prometheus, you've helped him. He's been asking about family fencing and all of our great people that are helping one another here on the program. It's great. We're a community-oriented thing. It's awesome. And that's what I'm so proud of with the folks who do support the program is I've utilized most, if not all. And I know how much they've made this area part of who they are. So it's great. It's great. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. And we got some cool things coming up here, hopefully on our channel that we can announce here soon. And then we'll find out. TP, if you're in here, how'd it go last night? I haven't heard anything. Just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. You want to get more into our conversation about the NFL and politics? That'd be great. That'd be great. So I'm just going, here you go. For instance, you can just go to X right now, real time, and you can hit refresh. And the first thing that you see is everyone discussing how awful everything the NFL did. Nobody's talking about the game. TMZ, which is anti all things what the alternate Super Bowl halftime represented, had a poll up that 84% of the people, 500,000 votes, picked that halftime over the one the Super Bowl had. But there's been nothing about, I'm going through here, it's all about the dissension about what this has caused. And this is my whole point. Is that sun going to come through again? Yeah. See, you talk about just not utilizing things that you've implemented. The sun, the bright light, maybe it'll drain my car. I'll be right back. But I will tell you this, no complaints from this guy about the sun. We need it more now than ever before. So hopefully that'll work. Although I got it propped, so it's not really shutting, but that's okay. So you can still see it right here. See right there? But again, this just takes us back to, oh, I can't see anything. Takes us back to why it's a fail for the National Football League. We're not even 48 hours from the end of their prime event, and no one's talking about the event. See, this is how they fail. This is my whole point. You subscribed to something that you knew was going to be the result. You intentionally did this, and now you're getting your just results. Yeah, it's true, Wayne. There's no doubt. Hopefully that's the last we ever see from her regarding football. Because her nerfed out boyfriend, Travis Kelce, now has one of these haircuts that you look like when you're walking on the beach in the San Fernando Valley with flip-flops, cargo shorts. But I'm telling you this, despite how awful she is, at least that would have been an actual, that would have been an actual effort to at least have someone on that would appeal to a larger group of people who supported your league. Yeah, it means much less useful or powerful. How's that? It's a term that actually originated from the video game folks. My son, when he was here, would tell me about that. Yeah. But you failed. Let me ask you this. How much faith do you even have in any professional sports now? My dad, as he got older, and I had a huge influence of fanship from my mother and my father. My mom was a real football fan. She was a Cowboys fan from the 60s on. My dad was a Steelers fan from the 60s on. Talking about when these were very bad teams. Cowboys got better quickly, got good quickly. They were playing for NFL championships under Tom Landry against those Packer teams in particular. But the Steelers were really bad, considered the worst organization in the NFL. And this is right when the AFL was coming along. And he stuck with them. So I had a huge influence. So pro sports always been part of my life. But let me ask you now, as my dad got older, he realized that he wasn't as much of a fan of pro sports. He turned all of his attention, West Virginia grad. He was all about the Mountaineers. There's nothing I miss more than the calls I would get every Saturday during Mountaineer football games, either after or during. I would give everything I owned for one of those phone calls today. But he got away from pro sports. He didn't like the things that he saw and so forth. And let me ask you, where do you sit right now with your pro sports fanship? I mean, I'd like to know. I mean, there's no judgment. It's however you feel. It's not right or wrong. It's how you feel. Because we're not like the crap you read elsewhere, throwing judgment or wanting you excluded because you feel a certain way. Isn't that funny how that works? NBA, does anybody here, and I'm just asking, do any of you follow the NBA today? Major League Baseball is going to go through an upheaval coming up in about 6 to 8 months. The game's going to stop, and we'll see if anything good on the other side comes out. Not enough people care about hockey. I love hockey. Always have. I think it started with me in the 1980 Olympic team. But hockey's never going to be a national thing to catch on here. It's always going to be, where you are regionally, if there's a professional team there. And that only leaves the NFL. And we know the path that it's been heading down recently under Goodell and where it kind of has crescendoed right now after the disaster that was its Super Bowl weekend. So I'm asking you, and I'd just like to know, or do a poll here. You can hit me up on the text line. Maybe that's what our Ryan Pry attorney fan question of the week will be. Do you still enjoy professional sports? Do professional sports still take up much of your concern as a sports fan? And I thought about this some over the weekend. You know, a lot of things I've asked you is how much you're going to put up with as a college football fan or a supporter. Because what a mess college athletics is, especially year-to-year free agency. And I've come to the understanding, I get it more why you're willing to ride that out, because it's really all that's left if you've given up on professional sports and the things that it tries to portray now. Yeah, people in chat. Grew up a Cowboys fan, Jeff says. Been apathetic about the NFL for years. Well, golf, yeah, I get it. Golf's been affected, though, with the 2 separate tours. I don't know where that sits now. I'm not a guy who watches golf. I'll watch if the Masters is exciting down the stretch. But I'll say this. My dad's all-time favorite golfer was Jack Nicklaus. We used to always watch Jack. But I'm telling you, I was a Tiger Woods generation golf fan. I was all about red shirt Sundays and what he brought to that. I was one of those dudes. And I haven't cared much since. You know, I haven't cared. TLB just tunes out the other tour. Where does that stand, TLB? Like, where are we with the PGA and the LIV tours? I mean, I don't know the answer. I mean, is the LIV thing still throwing out all this money? Or has it kind of settled down some? Is it kind of finding its curve a little bit? I don't know. You tell me. I have great respect for the talent that they have, but there's not really one guy that I care about following. I don't even, Yeah, good point, Wayne. NASCAR. You talk about something they won't consider, but what the NFL needs to consider. I think Ryan Pry, the attorney, brought this up yesterday. NASCAR completely and willfully went against its core audience. And they have not recovered since. Their playoffs are stupid. Makes no sense. Interrupting races, to me, is ridiculous. Going through stages. I mean, the whole point of sitting down, when I used to watch Daytona with Dad, my dad was a big Richard Petty and then Dale Earnhardt fan. The whole marathon of who survives the day at the end was what made it interesting, even to me as a young kid. And now, we run 60 laps and then everybody can stop. And you can go and you can fix your car and make any adjustments you need. Put on new tires and gas them up. Yeah, let's go. It's just a symptom of where we are as a society. Tebow says the only thing saving him with the NFL is the players. Most of those guys are guys playing. Correct. They are. They're just dudes playing, getting paid. They respect it for the most part. I agree with that. Goodell is the problem. Yeah. Yeah. But where are we with sports in your mind, professional sports. I don't think NASCAR is ever getting it back. It battles lower ratings the year before than it ever did. You know, that's all we hear about as we go along. We'll talk to Marty a little bit about that tomorrow. What can NASCAR do to get its public back? And why are these leagues so eager to leave aside its core fan base? Do they really think there are greener pastures with younger fans? Did NASCAR think they were going to capture younger generations? Did they think that kids growing up today that have the attention span of whatever their last video game was going to sit down and watch a 3-hour race? Is that why they broke it up into sections? I don't know. But NASCAR is just a shell of its former self. Are there any mega stars even driving today that anybody cares about? Any stars? Do we have any stars in NASCAR? What's up, DV? NASCAR, Major League Baseball. Dwight Vick chime again. Other sports do well when they have stars. There you go. See? I mean, who are the stars of NASCAR? I couldn't tell you. Denny Hamlin? I think the heart of the sport died when Dale Earnhardt was killed. And they never responded to that in any way, shape, or form. Wayne says, sports is pricing themselves out of real fans, all about entertainment, business, sponsors, people who don't care to watch. Yeah. They have given up on Generation X. There's no doubt. Yeah. And you know what? We talked about this yesterday with the Super Bowl. There wasn't one mega star in the Super Bowl. And maybe that led to the apathy leading up to it. That and the politics it continues to dive into. That, I mean, Kenneth Walker won the MVP. He's a really good running back, but was he a star? No. Were either quarterback considered stars? Don't think so. But I do get the sense that even though it's the most popular league, with what the NFL actively conducted, what they went through with this weekend and what they did leading up to it, and you see no one talking about the game really during the game or shortly after the game, they may have finally crossed a path when an alternate Super Bowl took away that much, Super Bowl halftime show took away that much of your audience from your television screens. That will get their attention. Because all of a sudden, those $8 to $10 million they're charging per commercial, 30-second commercial, might have to be reevaluated. And then those sponsors may be looking at a halftime show that was an alternate from what is always the most watched television event become the most watched thing in the history of this format here on YouTube. And then all of a sudden, the NFL may have figured out that it's not invincible. He's not a machine. Rocky, you cut him. He's a man. Well, the NFL may have finally received a Drago cut over his eye with Roger Goodell and what he dove into this weekend. And the result of the choices that have been made. He is a man. See? Telling you. you could sit down, come to my house, and say, "Hey, Rick, let's make some steaks. We're going to watch the first 4 Rocky movies," and I'd be the happiest guy in the world. The first 2 Creed movies, first one in particular, are really good. Third one is crap personified, but the first 2, really good. So that kind of fits into. And I'm telling you, Carl Weathers is Apollo Creed, hence half of the name of my fuzzy feline. I'll stand by it, is as vital to the lore and to the continued draw of those movies as Sylvester Stallone. Carl Weathers was brilliant at that character. Absolutely brilliant. And I thought that in the first 2 Creed movies, Michael B. Jordan did a great job of capturing some of that in his relationship with Rocky as a father figure. Yeah. Adrian flirting with Clubber Lang was the downfall. Yeah, it never got better after that, did it? And then she's standing at the top of the stairs in the next movie saying, "You can't win," in her multi-million-dollar house. Damien Sordelett joining us on the program. Appreciate him altering his schedule for here on a Tuesday. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Morning. I'm more than happy to come on a day early and an hour later.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. That's good. All right, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about your experience last week. We had you on. We got a preview right before the big press event. And how did it go? And what were your thoughts over the way things were handled? Did you get some good stuff at all?
Yeah, I got some good stuff. Kind of wish Franklin's monologue was cut in half instead of 13 minutes because we only got to ask him 4 questions. So you had to kind of tee up and make sure you got the right questions in. And, Andy, Teal, and myself hit it with the improvements to Merriman, Pry, and the quarterback room. I think those are the 3 topics that people want to talk about. And then, of course, Pry was more than happy to talk to us for however long he did. And, Andy beat me to it. I'm writing something on Ty Howell now about him being a first-time coordinator. He's been a co-OC, but this is the first time where it's his show. So yeah, I got some good stuff out of it, and hopefully it lasts us till, it's not going to last us till March when spring ball starts, which is, I think, after spring break. I think it's the Wednesday after spring break is over. Right. So it's like March 18th or something like that. So still got a ways to go to football till spring ball gets cranked up here.
Well, that's good. What was your impressions of Brent Pry? I mean, coming back the way he did, there's been a lot of opinions about it. What were some of your impressions when you saw him up there talking, when you had a chance to ask him some questions?
Well, the first thing he did when he walked into the room is he stopped. He's got this big grin on his face. And he goes, "All right, some of you I didn't miss in here, but I missed you." And then he looked. He said he was refreshed, and I believe it. When you get 3 months off, you have a chance to recharge the battery, and he looks like he's back in his comfort zone. He mentioned, because I think Andy asked him, "Is it good not to have the head coach responsibilities?" And he goes, "Absolutely." So that was something that he's back to coaching ball. He doesn't have to worry about NIL. He doesn't have to worry about the transfer portal. He doesn't have to worry about rev sharing. He doesn't have to worry about anything like that. He can focus just on coaching ball, and he's happy with that. And Franklin did announce the entire staff, but I think we had pieced it all together by then. That's kind of one where I'd like to ask the question of, all right, so what was the process of filling out the staff? And he kind of just went ahead, laid it out. We really didn't get into the transfer class or anything like that. So, but he did mention hadn't been around the team much because once they get here, they're out recruiting till the dead period. So he hadn't really seen the team much. I think he'd seen them for all 4 days. So, that's when we need like Chuck Losey in there to kind of give us a feel of, who's doing what. But I will say this, James Franklin did highlight Jared Ferguson and said that he was part of the meshing the best of Virginia Tech with the best of Penn State when it comes to, the strength and conditioning staff. And I think that was probably a great retention of keeping Ferguson on staff. And I know Ferguson had to take a step back, similar to Pry, from being the head role. I think because Ferguson loves this university and, his, family's in the area, no reason to uproot him. Stay there. He's probably going to be paid handsomely, like the rest of the strength staff, and he can make a good living.
Do you think at some point that Grunkmeyer, some of the players, did you get the impression they're going to allow those guys to come out and talk to you guys at some point, or maybe that'll have to wait till the spring as well, like once you get going?
They might have to wait till the spring, but Andy and I have requested to sit down and talk to them about coverage opportunities. And
yeah, Andy mentioned that. Yeah, because it sounded like there weren't going to be very many going forward. So I hope that changes.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to sit down, and one of the things I was going to ask was just give us some of the transfers before spring ball starts, because we don't want them the first time seeing us to be after practice and they're like, oh, well, who are you? Who are you? And they may not be willing to open up about some of the questions. So if they can get a face-to-face with us early, and we can get the questions about transferring and all that stuff out early, we can talk to them about ball and spring practice and what they're getting out of it, instead of spending most of the time asking them about, okay, what was the process of transferring here? And did, James Franklin has said, just trust me about the coaching staff. Was that really the case? Did he just say, trust me, the coaches will be in place? And so, yeah, I like to do that beforehand, but we'll see if that shakes out. I don't know if I'm holding my breath on any of that, but we'll see.
Did I know Chris Coleman wrote about, you mentioned he opened up with the 13-minute monologue. Was there anything of major interest that came out of that? Because like you said, it didn't leave you guys a lot of time to kind of ask questions fans would like to have known about and things.
Yeah, Chris brought it up that he brought up the coaching staff. I could have done with the question of who was the best hire, or specifics about one or two of them, versus giving us like a quick glimpse of every one of them. We could have, and then when we get a chance to talk to these assistants later, we can ask them about coming here. So Franklin did say, he wanted to wait till the entire staff was put together before releasing it. He's like, well, that doesn't get kept secret any longer. And then he made a joke about us foiling everything when it comes to stuff that's being done at the facilities, and especially when it comes to the heating and cooling the indoor facility, which, they're spending close to $1 million just to finish the drawings of what they need to do for the renovations of it. And then, of course, the video board, LED lights, potentially redoing the north end zone where you raise the student section up and then you put premium seating at field level. So, there's stuff coming to Lane Stadium. And I will say this, I don't know, Andy might have mentioned this when he was on last week, but the attention to detail Franklin has with the renovations and just the stuff in general around the facilities, you would think, the head coach has enough on his plate. He's probably not going to worry about that. But, he is in the weeds when it comes to things going on and upgrading things. And it sounds like they are going to be spending some time and money upgrading Merriman and making that a football only facility. Just like they've already limited access. Like student athletes for other sports can't even come through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they redid the ADA situation there, where that was the drop off for ADA access to get into Castle, and now they've had to add some ramps down the walkway into like the second level of Castle for them, instead of having them go through Merriman. So they are really sealing off Merriman, and I think the only way we're ever going to see what it looks like is a guided tour, if we get that.
Once it's done. When's the project supposed to be done over there with what they're doing at Merriman?
I don't know. Franklin said come training camp it's going to look drastically different. I don't know if you're going to, in the span of 6 months, add as much as he wants to, or literally raise the roof on it and add some floors. I don't know if you're going to get done in that time frame, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a significant push to making that football only facility very updated. That's for sure. They're adding coaches' rooms, and because the staff is huge.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. It's a lot of stuff going on with the staff, extra members of the staff, and so forth.
I mean, they just added Tyrell Smith as director of player performance yesterday. That was announced, and that great hire, by the way.
How much of that's because of the new funding, right? All the new money that was,
Yeah, and they didn't have a director of player performance. They had they had virtually every other support staff role, but player performance. So it was worth bringing him on. The one position they don't have is an assistant running backs coach. They don't even have a running backs analyst either. So I thought they would have someone there helping out Norvell McKenzie, since he is the assistant head coach. So we'll see.
How much of that, we're seeing that a lot. How much of that do you think is trying to get ahead of the new era where we are with pay for play, and how things are different now with players and how the recruit? How much of that you think is, okay, well, we may have to try to adjust how we even approach these guys as a staff. So we have to have different types of specialized, coaching positions now. I wonder how much of that's playing into this, because you can't handle these guys the same way, because a lot of them will be one and out, regardless of what school you're talking about.
Right. But once the NCAA said, lifted the restrictions on how many people can coach, now it's you go to the pro model, and pro teams have main assistant coaches, and then they have a slew of assistants with them. And I think that's what Franklin had at Penn State, and he's doing that here. And Pry was starting that. He didn't have the funding to have as big of a staff as he probably wanted. So that was, we're seeing what you can do with a full staff. Well, if you have the money complement to it, you can bring up a full staff. And speaking of staffs, it's funny how Franklin and Pry were both in unison when it came to the coordinators need to coach a position. After last year, both touted that they got walk-around coordinators. No, it didn't work. How they did a complete 180 flip on that. Because Pry was all, let's bring in Sam Seifkes. He can be the walk-around coordinator, kind of oversee everything. And now it's both he and Franklin were we need to, it's important that we coach a position, the coordinators have a position that they coach, so they're in there. And complete 180. That's another thing I took away from that. It's all right, Franklin found out it didn't really work with Jim Knowles. Pry found out it didn't work with Sam Seifkes, and so they're back to Pry coaching linebackers, and he's got Jan Johnson as his assistant. So, Johnson will probably handle some of those reins when pride has to go to other positions.
Well, I got to be honest. I kind of like the idea of your coordinators being directly involved in a position. I think that keeps you a lot more in tune with the mindset of your players, right? You can kind of do a lot more, I think, as a whole with the entire defense. I like that. If that's a trend that's going to continue, I think that's a good thing, to be honest with you. I get that part of it. I do.
Yeah. And, Ty Howell's still coaching tight ends. So I will say Montgomery did have a role in the quarterbacks last year. I think he was like the quarterbacks coach. Brian Christ had the title of assistant quarterbacks coach. So Montgomery was still in tune with it. But I think getting back on defense, that will help. Especially, that's the unit that's got to get turned around, because under Marv, they weren't terrible. I'll remind people they're still a top 50 defense under Marv. They fell off a cliff last year. So, and Prometheus, I'll bring this up. We talked last week about Rutgers and the debt. Rutgers has 100 and something staff members, and that people have been pointing out like that's like 20 or 30 more than any other program in the Big Ten. And that's probably why Rutgers is racking up the debt.
Just crazy. It just makes no, you're just eagerly saying here, we can't afford this, but this is what we're going to do. And then boom, here's our record showing you how much money we're in debt, right? It's just, again, leadership or lack thereof running these athletic departments. I don't know how else to say it. That are there no checks and balances at places like it? Just blows my mind, man. It really does.
Well, at least there's some checks and balances at Virginia Tech, because Virginia Tech's been operating in the black for the last few years. Now we'll see if that's the case with them upping the spending. And the first couple of years, you're not going to get as much back from the ACC media deal because your TV numbers have been atrocious. We'll see how that works out, and if Tech operates a little bit in the red. I don't think they're going to go Florida State red numbers.
No, they'll be in the red, but now that they have, but it won't be like that. I wouldn't think.
Football will still bring in a profit, and I think the next phase is upgrading Castle Coliseum so you can get some premium seating and can bring in some money, because that Castle Coliseum doesn't generate any revenue.
No.
And I would start charging for softball tickets, because that program is really good, and I would start charging because then you can make some money there, and that's probably the way you're going to have to go. You're going to have to find a way to generate some revenue, and I think you got to charge for softball tickets once you upgrade that facility, and so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. At Radford, we'll never charge for stick and ball because we're never going to run the kind of debt that these other places have. But I wonder, you think these are the first signs that we're seeing now, Damien, with what's going on in terms of this debt being shown? UCLA just showed it. That's 4 or 5 schools now that are putting it out there. You think this is the first sign that we may start to see something evolve eventually that will lead to some kind of change in what's been going on in college athletics?
Yeah. How long have you been bringing up the inflection point of when change is going to happen?
Yeah.
I think we're getting close to it, because if you're seeing the amount of debt that these universities are putting in, because these leagues are getting so big that you have to travel across the country, and the big payday isn't really paying off.
That's right.
Because I don't know if UCLA and USC are getting full. Well, UCLA is more in debt because UCLA has to pay Cal and Stanford.
They had to pay the UC system. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
USC, a private school, didn't have to do that.
Didn't have to do that.
So I think we're starting to see that. You're seeing the taxing that it's having on the student athletes, especially for volleyball, that loses money because you have to travel across the country. The soccer, you have like a lot of schools are subsidized, like between subsidizing other schools and then the travel for non-revenue sports. It is that we're getting close to that point where they're going to have to be like, all right, well, let's go back to where it is, or how it was. Though I'm sure the Mountain West will be happy to still have North Dakota State and as a football only member.
Yeah.
North Dakota State's doing it right. Football only, and then you keep your other sports in a league where travel is not as bad.
Correct. And they'll be able to fund travel for football. Yeah, they did it. Yep. That was a smart move by them and by the Mountain West, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So that's going to work both ways. Yeah.
Even though where North Dakota State is at Fargo, they're on the eastern part of the state. They're actually closer to the MAC schools than they are to the Mountain
That's
West
right.
schools.
They are. They are.
But then, well, they do have a travel partner because I think Northern Illinois is in the Mountain West for football, if I'm not mistaken.
Are they moving? Did they move?
I think so, yeah.
NIU's going to the – okay, I didn't know that. Okay, well, that would make sense. That would make sense then.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's going to come sooner than later. The money just can't keep being assumed. It can't. It's just not going to work. And I don't see how any university is going to be able to sit there and say, like Florida State, for instance, the university debt was what? What were the numbers? 70-some million overall, and 45 of it was football or athletics, 50 of it, whatever it was, coming directly from athletics.
It was a
bizarre,
absurd amount of money. Yeah, let me look that up. Yeah, so Northern Illinois is joining Mountain West as football-only member July.
Okay. So there it makes sense then what North Dakota State's doing. That's a good move for the Mountain West.
Yeah.
On both fronts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a travel partner for you. And then I guess Northern Illinois is keeping everything. So Florida State's athletics-related debt for FY25 was $437 million.
Okay, I was a little under $437 million, and the overall debt of the school was so it makes up about 80% of it.
Yeah, 71% of the $617 million. So it was a $200 million increase, and I think they threw, Doak Campbell renovation was part of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you're right, Wayne. I tell you that story. If people can't pay attention to what's going on there with VMI, yeah, that better not happen. I don't think that's going to.
Having it run by Virginia State.
Oh my Lord.
No, I mean.
No.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
That is a bill that needs to get burned.
Well, who knew elections would have consequences?
Or the Pentagon's going to get involved.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to go to a larger entity here. Yeah.
Yeah, the Pentagon's going to get involved and say you need an institution like that to stay open and run as itself.
I mean, just to come in and attack VMI, one of the most cherished institutions and tradition-laden schools that we have in this Commonwealth, it's just it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and
not unbelievable.
I mean, the governor did get to pick who she put on the board there after she, and you think, okay, that should stop some bleeding, but then to have this bill come through that puts it under the governance of Virginia State, which is Petersburg, like, I don't get it.
No, nor do I. Nor do anybody with any sanity to them. But hey, it is what it is.
No.
Well, all right then. What do you think of Super Bowl before we let you go here? Terrible game. Unless you're a Seahawks fan, it was a terrible game.
Unless you're a fan of defense.
Yeah, but they didn't. Yeah, but
that reminded me of 53, where, but at least the Rams defense in that game. Rams defense, kept it up. Kept it close. I mean, what was it, 13-3? Versus, the Patriots defense just got gassed. I mean, they decided to not target Christian Gonzalez for one. He almost had 3 picks by himself with some of these pass breakups he had. But yeah, I'm gutted for the Washington Post. That's what happens when you have a millionaire or a billionaire running it. Lee Enterprises, the company that owns the Roanoke Times, a billionaire bought up controlling interest of the company as part of his private equity group.
At the Washington Post?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Prometheus asked a question about thoughts on that.
Yeah.
The fact that there's no local coverage of their sports teams and they're covering sports as a cultural phenomenon. You got to cover the Caps. You got to cover the Wizards. You got to cover the Commanders. You got to cover the Nats. And their high school sports coverage was phenomenal up in that area.
It was.
I just don't get it.
That's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that
I
saw someone comment like 2 days after they made that announcement, the sports page was about this Olympic sport that no one really cared about, and there was no coverage about the Caps or the Wizards. And I'm like, people care about local sports.
Yeah.
It's almost like all 300 journalists who got laid off could probably start their own newspaper if someone wanted to come in and do so. And you could run circles around the Post if that's what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe that'll happen. Maybe they find some investors and do that and try to save it because it's got such a tradition laden following and cultural significance. I mean, the Washington Post sports page was a thing, man. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Not to mention they're closing down all their international bureaus. That's another thing. It's like the Washington Post being in the nation's capital, you need to have people around the country reporting and around the nation, around the world reporting.
That's right.
And Wayne, I tell you, the guy who bought the Lee Enterprise or has a controlling stake in Lee Enterprises wants to get it all digital soon. Just because what happened is there wasn't enough advertising to keep print afloat.
Yeah, bottom line, people wanted their stuff digitized, didn't they? They wanted everything to show up. Yep.
They wanted digital, and then the fact that newspapers weren't charging for digital access, people just went there for free. They stopped subscribing to newspapers. Ad revenues declined for that. And now newspapers are trying to play catch up by shifting all the advertising to digital and getting people to subscribe online. But when people had for so long gone to your newspaper website and was free,
I know,
they're like, we don't want to pay for this.
I know. That's the tough thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to have really talented people like yourself, right? To kind of motivate them to say, hey, we can't get this anywhere unless you pay for it.
Yeah. And we got to find better. I know people were asking me about Black Friday or Christmas deals, and I thought there was a decent one for Lee Enterprises, but they're like, oh no, you have to pay for 2 subscriptions and you gift one to someone. And I'm like,
that's
it was discounted. It was a pretty good. It's a pretty good discount for a full year, but I'm like, I don't know if that's the way to go. I mean, you got the Daily Press with Teal. They're doing like $1 for a year, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. I wish Lee Enterprises would do something like that, or who knows? Maybe this new guy in will say, hey, just do like $10 a month or something like that. Wayne, I almost had a podcast.
Co-host you should. You should.
Co-host fell through, so
loser, whoever it was. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Hopefully over the summer I get some clarity on this because I'd like to do something once a week.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
I did one for a year when I was at Lynchburg covering Liberty, and
I thought you used to have something. Yeah,
I was by myself, and the problem was I had someone come up to me and was like, "Oh, I enjoy it. It sounds like an NPR program," and I'm like, "Geez, that's not exactly what I was going for."
Let's hope not.
I was not going for just a straightforward script and reading off everything. I would like, and guys, I'm young, but I remember the days I would read the newspaper from front to back, especially the sports section. Like I would read the scoreboard page, but then once I got to understanding things, reading Paul Woody covering the Redskins, with Richmond Times Dispatch, and then like John Markham, John O'Connor, those guys, I loved it. I kind of miss the actual feel of a printed newspaper.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. 100%. Well, brother, listen, thanks for jumping on early. We appreciate you, man.
Oh, absolutely.
And, we'll jump into you next week, and we'll figure out what's going on, and we'll see what's happening. Happening.
And I haven't figured out where I'm going yet Saturday, so I might see you at the Deadman, or I might get to might go to the Kreger to see Roanoke, which is still ranked. So haven't figured that out yet. Might see you on Saturday.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, come by and see us. And you have a spot down there right next to me. So
absolutely.
All right, brother. Take care, DS. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, there you go. Damien Sordelett. Good stuff. All right, we're about done. We got a massive show tomorrow. Massive show. Thanks to the Ready Set Fund. Appreciate them. Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line. National Bank member FDIC. The attorney Ryan Pry in Radford, 701 West Main Street for our fan question of the week. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee and Company over at 1095 Radford Street. Presenting sponsor of this program, Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. We will hear from them, I believe, on Thursday this week. Thanks to McClellan Chiropractic, Family Fencing for sponsoring our studio, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, and the NRB Super Bowl. Telling you, call the neighbors, wake the kids. Tomorrow, Brian White's going to join us. We're going to talk about his book, about the locker room. Can't wait. Coach Elmo is going to jump on. Keon Brown, and then Marty and Rags, and then Mike Burnham. You're welcome, America. All right here. Spread the word. Let's have a record. Let's have a record-setting audience tomorrow. Can't wait. I won't have to do anything but just come on and say hi, and then everybody else is going to take over, as God intended. But thanks to you, as always, in chat and everybody on the text line. And to all of our great sponsors. I got to go see the tax man a little later this morning. Hot damn. So I got to do that here in just a little bit. But I hope everybody has a great thaw-out day. Sun's already gleaming. It's going to warm up pretty quickly. Feed Creed. We'll do. We'll go. Thanks to everybody in chat. Thanks to all of our guests today. Thanks to Marva. How happy was Marva, by the way? What a little genuine smile she had. She gets to go to Carolina, Miami tonight. That's great. Look for her. She says she's got seats. Hopefully she'll be facing the camera. Just like anybody wearing Carolina blue. That'll be Marva. Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner podcast. If you're not watching the Boundary Corner podcast and you're a Tech football fan, shame on you. And thanks to Damien Sordelett. Appreciate him alternating his schedule to make way for Rags and Marty tomorrow. Enjoy your day, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow on the Hump Day, very busy Wednesday edition. Be good.